and welcome. We're here at Presentation College speaking with our senior professor and priest for the campus, Father Joseph Sheehan. Father Sheehan, how are you today?
I'm fine. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you. Now, tell us briefly, Father Joseph, what areas do you teach here at Presentation?
Well, composition, British literature, sometimes American literature, and several 100-level courses like Introduction to Philosophy and Argumentation.
All right, and now we were talking the other day about some quizzing you do in your courses, and you were talking about an interesting model for oral quizzes.
Yes.
Tell us about that, the kind of oral quiz you give in your classes. It's not the typical one-on-one oral quiz, right?
No, it's the whole class together. It works well if there are about 15 students in the class. It can go well if there are 20, but once more than 20, it's not so easy to do. I ask questions looking for understanding, not for fact-room data. I want them to express how they understand some author understands something. And I ask a question. If the person answers very well, I will record that. If the person gives a partial answer, I'll ask other students if they would add more to it. And the test goes on almost as if it were a conversation.
Really? And so like a given question might be answered by multiple students building on each other's answers.
That's true. And it's surprising sometimes to the students as well as to me how they approach their understanding of the question that I ask.
So now, why do you choose to do an oral quiz with every student together all at once in a group instead of, say, kind of a traditional one-to-one format?
Well, that's rather daunting to the student and also to the instructor, because you want to make sure that you're asking fair questions of everyone. And sometimes the same question over and over again is not necessarily a fair question. So
you can adapt based on what's happening in the conversation to different students.
The conversation rolls along. Each student sometimes will play off what some other student had said before. And that adds a certain richness to our understanding of the authors they study.
So you're not just testing the students in this process, they're learning from each other even as you're assessing their learning.
That's right.
Interesting. So how does this, group oral quiz compare to testing students with essays, having them write about what they've learned?
Well, as an English teacher, I am prone to want students to write and expect them to write well. However, with certain 100-level courses, for students who have not even completed Comp 1, it's hardly fair to expect them to be writing very eloquently. And so it gives those students who don't write well an opportunity to shine in a different type of what you might call media.
Sure. So you're still finding other ways to assess their writing skills, but you're using this as an opportunity to assess the learning itself.
Yes.
Just expressing it in a different way.
That's right.
Interesting. So tell me, what do you think you as an instructor get out of this process of a group oral quiz? How does it benefit you?
It benefits me because, one, I have the test graded right away.
Class is done. You can go home.
Yes,
Nice.
I don't have to look over papers. The other thing, it benefits me for a more vivid understanding of what the students did not get. So I need to know what I have to follow up upon later.
Sure, so they're learning, but you're learning too, and can adjust your teaching next time based on these results.
And as a matter of fact, in the next class, we can go over our test.
Sure, sure. So what do you think students get from this specific kind of assessment, this group oral quiz? How do they benefit from your approach to assessing them out loud?
Well, I think one thing they benefit from is they learn that they can learn from others, not just the instructor. We always tell them that, but they don't believe it. It's only when it's actually shown to them as they're going through the process of the testing that they say, wow, that was a really good answer. I wish I could have thought that.
Yeah, so it sounds like a really good learning tool. They're, like you say, they're learning not just from you, but from each other and seeing each other forming answers and building answers off each other's learning.
That's right. And the point that this type of test works best for is to try to assess understanding rather than simply knowledge of data or knowledge of information, although that comes out as a basis for their understanding rather well sometimes.
Great. Well, Father Joseph Sheehan, Presentation College's senior professor and priest, a title he wears lightly. Thank you, Father Joseph, for coming in and talking about group oral quizzes.
Thank you.